Hi guys, I wanted to come on here to make this video which is inspired by Tavis Smiley and his recent legal troubles, but it also takes a look at other black entertainers, especially the powerful ones, and how the Me Too movement has seemed to be taking them down. And I wouldn't be so bothered by it if it was equal, if I felt like it wasn't as biased as it is, because black men seem to be the only ones being held accountable as far as sexual harassment or any kind of sexual misconduct. So I wanted to make this video just to showcase some of that. So if you guys want to check out these few video clips, and then I'll be right back with my commentary.
Well, this morning, sources close to the trial tell me that it is moving very rapidly. The prosecution getting ready to wrap up its case and hand it over to the defense. It has been 2 days of dramatic testimony from Andrea Constand and her mother. The big question now is, did the jury believe them?
Bill Cosby finding time to joke around with security guards at the courthouse. Back in the courtroom, Andrea Constand's mother took the stand, describing phone calls confronting Cosby in 2005. Gianna Constand said Cosby apologized to her and her daughter, telling them, "I am a sick man." Through tears, she told the jury, she viewed him like her father. "I was distraught that he drugged her. She was a healthy girl. He betrayed her." Constand also recorded a call. The audio played for the jury. Cosby's own voice saying, "I would be willing to meet with you guys, lay out what I think is best, pay for the schooling." Andrea Constand claims Cosby drugged and sexually assaulted her in his Pennsylvania home in 2004, a charge he denies. During cross-examination, the defense suggested Constand had deliberately misrepresented her relationship with Cosby. Attorney Angela Agrusa focused on 2 private dinners at his home, at one point asking, "You hadn't told the officers that you had wine and brandy and sat by a fire and put your legs near one another." The attorney saying, "You knew he was interested in you romantically." Constand replying, "No, ma'am." The defense team also poured over phone records, line by line, highlighting 53 calls Constand made to Cosby after the alleged assault. Assistant DA Kristen Fedden hit back, revealing a pattern in the records. Constand often checked her voicemail right before calling Cosby, suggesting she was returning his calls.
The latest powerful man brought down by allegations of sexual misconduct, music mogul Russell Simmons. There he is. And he is stepping down from his companies after a second woman spoke out. Amy, you've got the details.
That's right. And this new allegation comes from a screenwriter. She says Simmons offered her a ride back home in 1991, but they wound up at his place, where she says she was coerced into having sex.
This morning, music mogul Russell Simmons stepping away from his businesses amid allegations of sexual misconduct. Simmons, known as the CEO of hip-hop after starting Def Jam Records in the 80s, and producing and starring in reality television.
The show you told me over the phone?
Yeah, Rock Chicks.
Under fire after screenwriter Jenny Lumet, who wrote The Mummy.
You saw that, right?
And whose father is director Sidney Lumet, shared her account of a 1991 encounter with Simmons, saying he offered her a ride home before the car doors locked, and he allegedly took her to his own apartment where they had a sexual encounter that she says was non-consensual. Lumet writing, "I didn't know if the situation would turn violent. I remember thinking that I must be crazy. I remember hoping that the Russell I knew would return at any moment." Simmons releasing a statement in response saying, "While her memory of that evening is very different from mine, it is now clear to me that her feelings of fear and intimidation are real. While I have never been violent, I have been thoughtless and insensitive in some of my relationships over many decades, and I sincerely apologize." The allegations coming after model Carrie Clausen Kaligi told the LA Times about a 1991 encounter with Simmons and film director Brett Ratner.
Carrie Clausen Kaligi alleges they went out to dinner, and afterwards she was invited to go back to Simmons's residence in New York to watch a music video. She alleges that Russell Simmons sexually assaulted her, and when she asked Brett Ratner for help to intervene, he did not do so. Russell Simmons has denied these accusations.
Ratner's attorney has also reportedly denied the allegation. In recent years, Simmons often spoke about his spiritual journey, as he told Dan Harris last year.
Oh, yeah, good karmic work is very critical. I mean, give others what you want for yourself. You should give the happiness, the freedom, the opportunity that you want for yourself to others.
And again, Simmons strenuously denying these allegations, saying all relations were consensual, adding he will step aside from his businesses and commit myself to continuing my personal growth, spiritual learning, and above all, to listening.
Oscar winner Cuba Gooding Jr. turned himself in to New York City police today following allegations that he groped a woman at a bar, something he fiercely denies. But now comes word that a second woman is stepping forward with similar accusations.
Cuba Gooding Jr. is led away in handcuffs after turning himself in to the Special Victims Unit in Manhattan. Did you do it, Cuba? A 30-year-old woman says he groped her breast at the Magic Hour nightclub Sunday night. Gooding, who won the Best Supporting Actor Oscar in 1997 for Jerry Maguire, is facing more trouble. A second woman has now come forward claiming he grabbed her buttocks at a Manhattan restaurant 11 years ago in 2008.
Now, among those alleged sexual predators, you also can add 51-year-old director John Singleton to the list. He had an alleged encounter with a reporter who accused him of sexual harassment. This same reporter later accused Reverend Jesse Jackson of sexual misconduct of some sort. So as you can see, it looks like Tarana Burke's movement has gone awry, and it's only holding black men accountable. So I want you guys to check out this video of Tavis Smiley. And here we have Tavis Smiley, who inspired me to do this video. I saw that he was in legal trouble. I was shocked because I grew up, as a teenager, I watched Tavis Smiley on BET, and I thought he was a really intelligent guy.
Hi, I'm Tavis. I was as shocked as you were to hear of PBS's sudden announcement regarding my television program. Let me say at the outset that I have the utmost respect for all women, and I certainly celebrate the courage of those women who've come forth of late to share their own truth. But let me also assure you that I have never groped, inappropriately exposed myself, or coerced any colleague in the workplace ever in my 30-year career. PBS launched this so-called investigation of me without ever even telling me about it. I only learned of this investigation because former colleagues, former staffers, started to call me to tell me they were getting a phone call from some PBS investigator asking, number one, did Tavis ever make you feel uncomfortable in the workplace? And number two, can you give us other persons to call? Only after threatening a lawsuit did PBS investigators agree to sit down and talk to me for 3 hours. And even then, their minds must have been made up, because almost immediately after that session ended, this story broke in Variety. PBS investigators refused to look at any of my documentation, refused to talk to any of my current staffers, refused to give me the names of any of my accusers, and refused to give me any semblance of due process. It is clear that this has gone too far, and I, for one, intend to fight back. PBS overreacted, and they launched a sloppy investigation. It's time for a real conversation in this country about where the lines are, about how men and women can engage each other in the workplace. And I look forward to actively participating in that conversation.
And here you can see another one of Tavis's accolades. He was a contestant on Dancing with the Stars. And to see him on Dancing with the Stars, he seemed really free-spirited. So I was pretty shocked to hear about these allegations that came out against him. But not surprising, seeing as they seem to be on a roll with holding black men accountable. And Tavis Smiley is just the latest casualty in the agenda to take down the black man, especially the black powerful men in entertainment. So after PBS suspended Tavis, they decided that they would look into his conduct and found that he had violated a clause in his contract, a morality clause. So they decided to sue him, and they won. And he was ordered to pay PBS $1.5 million. And I could see it if they were treating everyone the same, with the exception of Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein, who, like I said, are two Jewish men, and I think that is why they're being held accountable. But other than that, none of the white men are being held accountable. And 68-year-old film producer Harvey Weinstein, who unfortunately just found out on March 22nd of this year that he has coronavirus, so he's actually in isolation at the moment. But there's also other guys like 55-year-old Mark Halperin. He was accused of unwanted touching of 9 women. Then we have comedian Louis C.K. He was accused, and his accusers go back from the mid-90s to 2005. But he was accused of sexual assault, and he's currently selling out shows and receiving standing ovations at his shows. So he's definitely not being held accountable. Neither is 52-year-old Glenn Thrush, who is a journalist and a White House consultant, and he was accused of sexual harassment, and he is not in jail. He's not being harassed or even bashed in the media. Then we have the infamous 62-year-old Matt Lauer, who in 2014 was accused of rape, and he is not really being held accountable, and his fall from grace doesn't look very good. He's actually resorting now to TikTok videos.
Twitter. Oh my God. Dang, dang, diggity, dang, 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 diggity, dang, dang.
Hey, I got muscles like Superman trainer. Hey.
Charlie Rose, who is a talk show host. He, in 2007, was fired from CBS for harassment in the workplace. The 75-year-old Jeffrey Tambor, he is an actor who I know from quite a few roles, but in 2017, he was accused by a co-star of getting physical and sexually harassing her. And also, 82-year-old Dustin Hoffman, who is a very, very well-known actor. In 2017, 5 accusers came out accusing him of groping them, and one of them happened to be a 17-year-old young lady. Moving on to an equally well-known actor, 60-year-old Kevin Spacey, who had more than 30 individuals accuse him of sexual misconduct, yet he's not in jail. He hasn't been charged. And I'm confused. These are faces of Me Too. Why aren't they being held accountable? Even John Travolta, who's 66 years old, the police were called to a location where he was chasing a male masseuse around a massage table, harassing him. Travolta never was held accountable. I mean, it just tarnished his reputation, but did nothing legally. And last but not least, we have 67-year-old Stephen Collins, who had confessed to inappropriate sexual conduct with 3 different girls, all underage. Collins is the father on the hit show Seventh Heaven, which was like a Christian show. So it was just like horrible for his reputation to, and the show's reputation, to have the father of the show come out as a pedophile, a pedophilic predator. So I just wanted to make this video to show the difference in the accountability being held and how Black men seem to be the soul and only face of the Me Too movement. Even though the number of Caucasian men topple the number of Black men, it still for some reason gets unnoticed. Black men, I want them to wake up, because what happened to Tavis Smiley could happen to any of them at any time. And in fact, I think it's an agenda to make sure that it happens to the majority of Black men in America. And I want Black men to notice it. Like, don't be so lecherous. Like, don't chase after every woman you see. Everything isn't a conquest. Like, make holding down a job your conquest. Like, make taking care of your kids your conquest. Don't worry about women and chasing them, especially, I will say, women in the dominant society and or non-Black women. I mean, let's just be real. The lawsuits and the accusations tend to come from accusers from those groups, from non-Black people, just women. And even when men, even if it's a gay guy, it's like, for some reason, Black men tend to date and chase after white men if they're gay. Like, as if Black men aren't good enough even still. So we, as Black women, I feel like we need to make sure our sons and even our daughters, but especially our sons, know what's going on, and make sure we stay alert and keep our kids alert, and even our friends, and make sure everybody sees the agenda that's going on. And I'm going to close out this video, but I appreciate you guys checking it out. If you guys like the video, like I always say, give it a thumbs up. If you like my content, please subscribe. And I want you guys to have a great night. Thank you.